suggest that we talk with Lib and Jean for a few minutes, and Lib first, possibly. Lib's maiden name was Jackson. She came to Longwood from Maitland as a small child in 1926. So I'm glad to welcome you, Marla, to their home. They're a nice, cute little house they have here. And it's the house that Lib has known since childhood. She's been right here in this same house all along. Marla and I are from the Central Florida Society for Historic Preservation. We want to thank Lib and Jean for this opportunity to chat with them today about their lives in Longwood. Jean, I'm going to leave you for a little bit later, but I do want to say that I know you've been living here a long time also, and we're interested in what you both can tell us about life in Longwood during those years. Incidentally, you have a birthday coming up on the 26th, I know. Yeah. And how old will you be?
95.
95. That's just wonderful. Okay, Lib, I want to know first, why do you think you know why your folks moved to Longwood? What was their reason? Do you know how it happened that they finally ended up in Longwood?
The only thing I could think of was maybe they went in that business, that store. You know,
oh, okay.
he went to a store. That's the only thing I could think of.
He had a general store.
Yeah.
And did he run the store himself? Yeah. Okay. Now I had the picture there I showed you, and I wanted you want to hold that up just a minute to see if she can catch that on the camera there. And you see the gentleman there in the picture. It looks like they have cigars in front down there. Is that what that is?
He wouldn't have a cigar.
And those are Mr. Payne, J.G. Payne, and Mr. Jackson, your father. And who are the other two there? I've got the names on there, Marla. Can you see those names up above there, who they are?
Mr. Douglas, Mr. C.C. Jackson, Mr. Dan Paget.
Dan Paget, I was curious
and
about that.
L.G. Payne.
Payne.
Yes. I was curious about Dan Paget. I had never heard that name. I didn't remember ever hearing that name. So, what are some of your first memories of Longwood? Lib, what can you tell me about
I
Longwood?
can just remember growing up here.
Yeah,
When
right.
I was a baby, when they moved in here.
And you came when you were like 6 months
Oh,
old.
yeah.
So you are a Longwoodite, you might say, and been here a long time. Tell us a little bit about your school and maybe some of the teachers you had. And
Well, the school was Lyman, 1 through 12. All good teachers, all good teachers that I had.
do you remember having had Rosebud North for a
Do I
teacher?
ever?
And how about Hetty McNamara?
Yeah.
And can you name any other teachers? Can you think of any others that you remember their names?
Vaughn Tupper.
Vaughn Tupper. I was
She was
just going to
first
say,
grade.
she taught first grade, didn't she?
Yeah.
And any others you can think
I
of?
can't think of the names.
Hetty Arnett,
Eddie Arnett was my 5th grade teacher.
she was, okay.
Yeah.
Algia Millie was,
She taught high school.
all right, she taught high school at that time.
I don't think I took anything down except
Okay.
music, except music.
Yeah, well, she taught high school,
She
I remember
taught,
that,
yeah,
because
high
she
school.
told me she would never teach what I taught, which was kindergarten. And I told her I would never teach high school English to any high schoolers.
Well, she taught English too.
Yes, she did. And she had the music department, didn't
Yeah.
she, also? Lib, did you sing in the big club or whatever they call it? I thought you did, because I know you sing in the choir. You did sing in the choir at church. And weren't you a cheerleader as well?
Oh,
At
yeah,
one time?
every year.
Every year. What else did you do? Can you remember what other things you did when you were in
Well,
school?
you coached.
We went to church. We went to church
Yes.
on Sunday, and we went Wednesday night.
All right. Yeah, that's right. And you did have a long haul usually. Most of us.
Yeah, you coached basketball one year.
Yeah.
too.
That I was trying to get to, the
Yeah.
basketball. You were the coach?
Yeah.
All right.
They just hired anybody they could. You know, back in those days, they didn't hire me.
You didn't play basketball, you just coached it.
Yeah.
No, you played?
Well,
Did
I
you
played
play?
basketball, but I coached it when I went back there and went to work.
Now, see, that's why I like having you there, Jean, right by her to help her remember, because I know myself, I can't remember hardly anything anymore, and I like having you there to coach her.
Carolyn.
What church did you go to when you were little?
Baptist church.
All right, that's right here in Longwood, wasn't it? And now, that's no longer there.
No.
We did find a picture finally of the church, Linda, that was supposed to try to be here today, Linda Stearns, is Baptist, and she went up to the church and asked them if they had the old pictures, and she did finally find one picture. John thought it was a little different, but we're going to put together a booklet of places in Longwood of interest, and then when you see that, you can see what it looks like and see if it looks the right way to you.
Okay.
Of course, nobody here knows now how that Baptist church looked, but it was only one of how
It
many?
looks in front like it did.
Okay, the same?
The last time I saw, I have to go look at it again.
Okay.
But I remember thinking, gee, that's just like it was when we used to go to church.
Yeah. Well, she has a picture of this new church up in behind near me, you know, up there on where they have this private school, the Masters Academy now, and off of 434. She has a picture of that, and then she had a picture of some other churches. What other churches were in Longwood at that time?
Episcopal.
The Episcopal Church.
Mhm.
That's been there longest of any,
Yeah,
hasn't it?
long.
Yes.
I don't know when that.
And longest in keeping the services going all these years.
Yeah.
Continuous, right, at the Episcopal Church. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood other than high school, what you were doing in school, which we talked about before?
Where did she live? Here?
What?
Did she live here?
Yeah, when you lived here. Well, she lived here
Oh, yeah,
always.
I've lived here all my life.
And what did you do as a child?
Played a lot.
Played a lot.
2 boys lived next door. And
Who were the boys?
Hitzbinger.
Say their names.
Percy and Donald Hitzbinger.
Ensmingers, yes, they were old timers from here,
Yeah.
and that's right. And they played. You played together, and you played.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you play? You remember?
We played in their house because it was so big and it wasn't full.
They had a big house.
Yeah, it's a big house.
Yeah. We used to play kick the can, and we used to play Mother May I.
Yeah,
We used to play hide and seek.
yeah. We used to have parties.
Had parties.
We'd get all the girls and boys would get together, get a dime apiece to pay the rent on the library.
Oh, how nice! And the library was there forever. It's always one of the old. It's the
Well,
oldest building in
I
Longwood.
remember we played kissing games.
You played kissing games.
Spin the bottom.
Oh, spin the bottle! My
Yeah.
goodness. How old were you?
Oh, we were all in high school.
Oh, were you? That was when you were in high school. Okay. Well, did you know any of the names? You remember any of them names? Those people that were at that party or those
Yeah.
parties?
Miriam and June North,
Yes. June North. All right.
Tom Van Horn. Tom Van Horn died not long ago.
And Pat.
Pat Blankenship.
At Blankenship,
Yeah.
he played football because I have a picture with him
Yeah.
with his uniform on.
he played-
And Fred, my husband, played one time or for a year or two maybe, but I didn't see him in any pictures. But he said they didn't even have uniforms at first.
He
And
probably did.
no, and there were only 11 of them on the team,
Oh,
just
really?
enough to make a team. And that was I'm sure quite a sight to see. But this school covered a lot of the area in general. We had a school in Oviedo, and we had a school in Sanford, high school,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And they were the only other two besides Lyman.
Yeah.
So Lyman had to cover a large area. Students came from all around,
Mhm.
and they rode the bus. Now, did you walk to school?
No, I rode the bus.
You rode the bus
We
too?
rode it right here on the corner.
And Lyman, the old Lyman, used to be where Millway Middle School
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah.
And so that was a good little ride, but not so bad as some. Some come from way out the country.
Yeah.
You had the Farinas.
Yeah, they rode another bus.
Oh, they rode another bus
went
in
that
their
way.
direction. Can you think of anybody else that you remember that were in school with you that rode the buses or not? I mean, I'm just thinking Blankenship, Pat, and I remember some of the children that I had in school when I taught at Lyman, and they were the Frenches. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't have Bobby, but I had the younger one, Susan. And then there were
They're all
others.
dead.
Mhm.
They're all dead.
And you know that Deanna Farina is also passed away. She was so young when she died.
Deanna
Yeah.
Farina passed away?
Oh,
She
but
died
yeah,
some time ago, a long time ago.
Years ago.
I don't remember.
And I was trying to locate somebody else that I found that had passed away. But now I understand the Paynes are still living, Martha and Glenda, they're now moved.
We get a letter from
To
them
the-
every once in a
You
while.
do hear from
I
them?
can't tell you where they are.
They live in Medina.
Do you think they might ever come to Florida so I could interview them?
I don't
I'd
know
like
why
to
they
do
don't.
that.
I don't know.
Do they ever come to visit?
Martha's not too well.
Oh,
She
okay. Well, they
has-
would have a lot to tell us, and they had the old property where the Slade Airport was.
Yeah.
Isn't that where the Slade
Yes.
Airport was for a
Yes.
while? Who was the name of the, what was the name of the, first name of the man who had the Slade Airport? Do you remember, was it John or Fred or something like that? I can't remember the first
Fred
name.
Slade.
Fred Slade? It seemed like to me it was
That's
Fred,
Fred
but I didn't
Slade.
want to think that because my husband's name is Fred. I want to make sure. And so you had the airport out there for a little while, which was a very small
Oh,
airport.
yeah. He flew a plane in and out.
And now, what's there now? Do you know what's there now?
No.
What do you think, Jean?
Just housing.
Huh?
Housing.
Houses?
Yeah. The,
'Cause they sold the property when they
Yeah,
moved.
the Paynes sold the property and they built houses.
Yeah. So it's hard to know, but for Marla's benefit and anyone else who hasn't been here a long time, can you tell them approximately where that is? It's off of 434.
It's
And
on the,
Longwood.
what's the lake live?
A lake?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, there's a lake back in there.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think of the general, just a general idea of where it
Yeah,
was. And you, did you know anyone at the Slade Airport, or did you have any experiences ever go out there or ever? I can't remember ever hearing much about it.
yeah. Well, I used to go out and he would work on people's planes, and then I'd go out and go up with him.
Really, did you?
Yeah. take
Okay.
tests.
Well, that was fun. And did you know anything about the dog track at that time, or the
Well,
horse track?
I worked, during my time, I worked 18 years at, part-time at the dog track. At that time, the dog track just run in the winter.
Yes, only winter time.
Yes.
Right.
I worked there 18 years.
They would come down here like about December and stay till May, the
Yeah.
dog people, as we called them.
Yes.
Dog people, yeah.
Yeah, remember that? We called them that, the dog people. And I had those children in school and they were wild because they hadn't had any schooling hardly at all up there where they were from the north somewhere. And then they would come here without any experience or any books or any, and then we'd have to almost start over with our school class again. So that was quite an experience. What about the horse track? Do you remember having had the horse track here? At
Yeah, I
any time?
remember the school always had a field day out there once a year.
I had a picture of something or other I found that showed the picture of it, told about the track they ran.
We used to run races. We trained all year long at school, and then we went out there and met with other schools.
Now the the horse track was at where
Yeah.
it was until
Yeah.
fairly recently, right? On Seminola or whatever that road is.
Well,
out
it's
there.
always been at the
Yes.
horse track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was always there for years, but they quit doing that
Yeah.
after
Yeah, they could do it.
so long, and
Yeah,
now
a long time.
now
That was
it's
one of
not
the most
there.
fun things that I can remember because you practice and work all year long on whatever it is you do, jump or.
Okay, did you
run or-
participate in some of
Yeah,
those?
All of those.
What did you do?
I jumped.
You had the
I
jump,
jumped the
High jump?
big, no, the broad jump.
broad jump.
I was the winner in 1 year.
Oh,
I
good.
jumped 7 feet.
Oh, that's great.
You are kidding.
My goodness, that's
Well,
a good
yeah.
jump. What about the San Fernando Springs? Can you tell me about that? I
That
went
was
to
the place
Springs.
where we went.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. They had an open air dance floor.
Open air dance floor, that's what
Yeah,
Fred
and
remembered when
the-
I
and
asked
the
him
swimming
about
pool.
it. He's the
Swimming
first thing he
pool.
thought of
And
was
the
the dance
swimming
floor.
hole.
Because the school used to go out there a lot,
Oh,
didn't it?
yeah, they
When you were in school, you went out there
Oh, yeah.
for dances and parties and
Yeah.
things at the Springs.
Yeah.
And then after Liv and I married, the guy that ran the springs, we would go out on weekends and work at the springs for him.
Okay. Do you remember going down the slide?
Oh, yeah.
How tall would you say, how high do you think that slide
I don't know.
was?
It was pretty high.
That's the highest slide I've ever seen to go into the water or anywhere.
It was-
And I went down that one time and lost the top of my bathing suit because I made the mistake of going down face first
So, stomach on your stomach.
instead of coming down on my bottom like I should have. And I got up out of the water and went back down under the water. It was quite an experience too. But a lot of people depended on San Fernando for
Oh,
recreation.
yeah.
We all,
everything was
even
Santa
when
Land.
I married and came here and married Fred and started living here, when the children were small, we got a pass out there.
Yeah.
Every summer, we went regularly, almost every day, in the afternoons for a little while, to stay in Landon. That was one of our things we looked forward to.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Well, I know there are other places you might be able to think of.
No, I can't think of it.
This-
All we had was Santa Land,
Okay,
because that's where you could dance.
yes.
They had an open air floor, and then they had a closed in floor for a long time.
And you know, we used to have birthday parties. We used to have a lot of birthday parties, it seemed like. And then there were things going on at the Civic Glee Building, which was the library. You call it the library then. And they had activities at the library, I understand. Did you go to some things there?
Not too many.
Not too many?
Seemed like they were all older.
Fred said he didn't go as much as John did. John was more of a social butterfly, I think,
Yeah.
than Fred. And Fred would be working helping
But
his
it seemed
dad
like they were
more.
always older.
Yeah, they were probably older. But John remembers that they had some theater of some kind there at one time a little bit. They used the stage for plays, and they had
They used
teams.
to have a
and-
man come with a camera and show films every Tuesday night.
Okay, so they did do that.
Oh, yeah.
They had films.
We saved our money and went every week.
What kind of films were they?
Oh, just regular movies.
Yeah, regular movies.
That's
Okay,
it.
black and white probably a lot of them, huh? I guess then.
I don't
I
know.
guess then it was all black and white. All right, are there any other places you can think of that were for recreation? Was there ever a skating rink in this
Yeah.
area?
We
No.
skated down the middle of the road.
Okay, just down the middle of the
Now,
road.
you did your skating at the rink in Orlando.
I never did skate. I skated.
Now, what about places of business? In Longwood, we had, citrus, a lot of citrus
Yeah.
until they had the bad, terrible freeze. But there were cattle, some people had cattle at the Hartleys, some of our pioneers, they were Hartleys were some of the first family to come to Longwood.
Were they?
And they had cattle.
I didn't know.
And then the Cersei's, I don't think they
Well,
had
now,
cattle.
Cersei's, no,
No,
the Cersei's were the third families
third
to
family.
come to it.
Yeah, and we were trying to research some of this, and get these families recognized more, and we're doing some things about that. Here comes your man for your air conditioner.
Now, the second house over that way was the first building in Longwood.
We were just talking a little while ago about places around here, and I wanted to mention that, as I recall, they told me this used to be called the Old Dixie Highway.
Yeah.
So instead of 427, or Ronald Reagan Boulevard, they
Yeah.
call it now, it was
Yeah, the
Dixie
road,
Highway.
the road right here in front of, the street here in front of the house was the Old Dixie Highway. And if, and when you go out, if you look, you'll see a white patch in the road out there, 8 feet wide, and the highway from Jacksonville to St. Pete in Tampa was 8 feet wide.
Yeah.
And they saved that part of the highway out there.
I want to mention that Gene has moved because a serviceman came, or a man to service the air conditioner came up to the door, so Gene had to get up to go to the door, but he's back and sitting in a different place right now, but we want to make sure we get him on audio anyway, if not
Would
video.
you like
We'd
to
like
put
to
the
get him.
chair over there?
Yeah, we could. Put
No,
the chair
that,
over there.
no,
Here,
I'm
You
fine.
can sit in the chair over there. I mentioned that earlier. Just so you can be heard anyways, the main thing,
I think
Gene,
it'd be
because
fine.
I wanted to mention earlier, like I was saying about other businesses, the places of business in Longwood. You know, Mr. Beislein had squabs that he would sell.
Yes.
And he would ship north to hotels. And a lot of people don't know what squabs are, which are baby pigeons, but
Yeah.
you have to get them when they're very, very small and very tender, or they don't sell. So he would get up early in the morning and Fred would help him pick the feathers and put them on ice, and they would ship those. But he had almost 2,000 birds over there when he died, and we had to do something about it. So we had to get rid of some of them at first, and we finally got rid of the rest. But that was quite a job. But the main thing he did was to raise citrus. That was his love. And Fred sort of accepted that as a kind of he thinks that was something handed down to him, and my husband really loved it. So we got into citrus too, and there were trees all around us, all across the street over to the lake, and then all around our house. So a lot of Longwood was in citrus until they had the big freeze, and then people left. for a while. And then when they came back, some of them later, they got into other things other than citrus, some of them. And I was wondering if you could remember what other things we had here.
Well, Liv's brother owned quite a bit of citrus. He owned that whole area back down there now.
Who was that?
Liv's brother,
Liv's brother?
Harold, yeah.
Harold?
Mhm.
Yes, that's right. I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah,
So he had citrus.
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting the whole, are you getting her face just
Mhm.
because she's got her dress like that?
It's just
All right,
knees,
one of
just
them.
knees.
But anyway, was there ever a starch factory here or something like that?
No,
Did I ever hear about one
Starch
of those
factory?
before I
no,
came?
not a,
Or
the
char, or
crate,
some kind of,
there was a crate mill.
Crate.
to make
CRA,
crates
Yeah.
made crates,
for oranges?
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
And they used to use big old orange crates and now they don't
Yeah,
use those
yes.
anymore. But
That was located down
It was
here.
down there because my brother worked there. He would come ride by with somebody, get out every day for lunch, and he'd catch a ride back down there. when
Okay.
They were in high school.
So he did help make the crates?
Yeah, that was the
And they used what kind of wood? I wonder what kind of wood they used.
Oh, I do, but I don't know.
Pine.
A lot
I
of pine.
remember, I remember what the crates looked like.
Probably
lot-
fine.
A
because-
lot of pine in Florida, so that probably was what it was. Well, I was thinking there were some other things besides citrus and poultry, and that would have been one of them, and I thought of wood products.
Yes.
Even so long, for some time, many years later, we've had wood products here at one time anyway.
Well, this street down this side of the houses over here was the railroad to the sawmill. And originally, this was nothing but woods.
What railroad was that? The Florida, is that the Florida Midland?
Yeah, I think so. I was-
It probably was, and I don't.
Fred, and John, rather, his brother, my brother-in-law has researched railroads, and he can tell us really well about the railroads. But Mr. Hank is a well-known name, if you
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
Who started Longwood.
Yeah, Hank was the man who started the city here, and he built that house, second house over there, and that was the first house in Longwood.
Do you remember when they built some of the other roads, like 1792 and 434?
Yeah, but
Those are relatively new.
they are, yes, yes.
So the main road was 427 of Ronald Reagan before that?
Well, that was, yes, and it was called the
Yeah,
Old Dixie
yeah,
Highway,
the Old
you said
Dixie.
earlier.
Well,
And-
this was the old Dixie Highway, and then that was 1792, and it got the name from Route 17 and Route 92. So it was called 1792.
And then 427 of Ronald Reagan went down to Altamont, past
Yes,
the
yeah.
old Lyman?
Yes. Now the original road to San Fernando Springs was up here at the first traffic light.
Not 434, a different road.
No,
Oh,
no.
no.
434 was not here then.
Yeah.
These were all dirt roads when I came here, which was in 1950 when I came, and they were all dirt roads. And seldom ever more than 2 lanes.
Did you and Fred live somewhere other than here before you got married?
I did, but I'll tell you about it another time. Because right now I want to talk more about you, and I keep getting off onto my experiences, remembering and comparing, you know, and I want this to be your interview today, but I'll tell you more about
Okay.
how I came to be here later. Yeah, I mentioned that I married Fred. We moved here in 1950, I think it was.
Would you tell us more about this neighborhood right here when your house was built and when the other houses were built?
Well, when Liv and I married in '56, I came here in '48 with the baseball umpire school, and this street was not completed all the way through. There was a big-
Houses were down.
This was on the
then.
side of your house, Magnolia?
Yes, that was, and this area back in here, there's a swamp back here, and there was a drainage down across what's now the street into the swamp there. But there were homes on the other side of the ditch. You had to go around to get to them.
And these houses back here, those are fairly new, aren't
Yes, yes, yes.
they? Do you know when this house was built?
1924.
Okay. And you've lived here since it was built, 1924?
No, she moved here in in 46. Her parents came
46. No, it wasn't 46.
26.
26.
Her parents came from the Carolinas originally, and they moved to Maitland and lived in a tent on Lake Maitland until they got a house built. And then right after they got the house built, they moved up here and bought this home and moved up here.
Did they come down the old Dixie Highway, do you know, from out north?
They would have had to.
Did they ever tell you about their adventures coming down?
No.
No, but
No.
we had a neighbor who used to tell about what a place it was. And I can remember when I first came down to Florida and coming by automobile, there was some risky places, old bridges that scared you to death to ride over across the rivers, but that was way back in the late 40s.
Wasn't Liv a waitress?
Yeah.
Isn't that how you met
Yes.
her?
She, the old hotel up here was run by a family, what was it? Who ran the hotel?
Well, the Whites.
Lord.
Oh.
E.G. Ward ran the hotel, and after we left the Sanford Air Station, we moved the baseball umpire school out here, and Liv used to wait tables, because they had a very good dining room in that old hotel. And she would wait tables there, well then she waited tables at the umpire school, and we ate there, and that's how I met her.
And the umpire school was in the old
In
hotel.
the old hotel, yes.
Now, they had a school up in Sanford, which we were talking about briefly earlier on when we first got here today, but he was not there. That was the George Umpire School, I understood, where the new transmission is now.
No,
I
no,
thought that was where they were, but he said
no.
no.
No, the George Barr Umpire School was in Orlando in 47, and then they moved to the Sanford Naval Air Station. They never were in this building she talks about. They moved the umpire school to the
I'll get it.
Naval Air Station, and we had the umpire school there until the Korean War broke out. Then we had to get out of there and reactivate.
Korean War.
Yeah.
Well, did you umpire after that for teams
yeah,
around Florida?
Oh, during that time,
Well,
I
now-
umpired professional baseball for 10 years.
You said earlier on, you said you worked at the dog track.
Yes.
So you
at
did
night.
both?
Yes, at night.
You did at night,
Yeah,
the
that's
dog
it.
track.
Yeah,
And I remember that.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to get that on the.
But that was after I quit umpiring and went to work for the post office.
Okay, then you worked with the post office.
Yes, and that's when I worked at the dog track.
That's how he got so strong. All these things he did, like walking as a mailman for whatever, 20 years or whatever.
25 years.
What teams did you umpire for?
I umpired minor league teams. I never umpired a major league team. Although I umpired major league exhibition games, and I know a lot of ex-major league players, but that was none of them are around anymore.
Did you do spring training games with the major league?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the New York Giants would have all their farm teams would come to Sanford, and we would umpire their games in their spring training.
Now, before you came to Sanford or Longwood, you were in the Navy,
In the Army.
Army,
Yes.
and you were,
Well,
what was your class?
I was a commissioned officer in the field artillery during World War II, and I was in there for 5 years, and we did all of the island hopping in the Pacific. Kwajalein, Eniwetok, Saipan, Tinian, Okinawa.
Must have been some interesting experiences
Yes.
that you
Yes,
had.
weren't you honored for that, some of that?
Well, no, I have a Purple Heart.
That's
That's an honor.
Wounded in
I wanted to
Saipan.
say that.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
say it at the Purple
Yeah.
Heart.
And
That was quite an experience, and a lot of them, our old timers, any who are left, served in World War II.
Yeah.
But you're getting scarce.
I have a lot more time at sea than a lot of sailors did because we did all that island hopping.
Yeah. And then where were you when the war ended?
In Okinawa. In fact, I was in the invasion force that took the island of Tinian, and we took that island so we'd have a place to fly the atom bomb out of, although we didn't know that. We didn't know why we took it, but that's what the plan was, to fly the atom bomb from the island of Tinian.
That's a very famous picture they have of the.
And that is where they flew it from
Okinawa.
then, right?
Yeah, they flew from there, yes.
John helped build that.
Did he really?
So that was
yeah,
like a
John-
crucial time.
John was one of the original workers on the atom bomb.
He doesn't
Really?
talk about that.
No, he don't know. He only ever talked to me about 2 times about
Now,
it.
before you were in the military, you were from Pennsylvania.
Yes, yeah,
And you were there until you went into military.
Yes.
And then came to Florida.
yes.
So you didn't come to Florida before.
Oh, no.
It was when you
No.
were,
It's after
what
I,
age were you then probably? You were, when you
Well,
went into military, you
I
were
went in the military when I was 26 years old.
26. And
Yeah.
then you came here to Florida then after that.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Okay, so you came to Longwood for the school, the
Yeah,
Empire School. And then you met Liv.
When I was in the military, I was in there 5 years during World War II, and I made up my mind that by my 31st birthday, I would be out of the service.
Molly, would you turn that so you can get a picture of him, or would it be hard to turn it without turning it on?
And you know, when the orders
Let's
were
turn it
cut,
around so
when the
because
orders
it's
were cut for me to be discharged from the service, my 31st birthday, and that was the birthday I always planned to be my last one in that
You
service.
did.
And
So
my
you said
orders
you were gonna do that,
and
and you
my
did.
orders were cut the 31st of September, or the 26th of September.
Okay.
At my 31st
That's your birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You won't forget that then. Oh. I just realized we
Really
should
good.
just go ahead and just turn the camera around since he's sitting in a different place
Lil,
right now.
Will you go tell him when he's through to call me?
Okay. Where is he?
He's in the kitchen.
Oh.
Just tell him when he's through to call me.
Let us know when he wants you. Okay.
So do you remember some of the other things that have been in the Longwood Hotel?
No.
You know, they had a movie there one time. I went to the movie. I was an extra in the movie for
Oh,
$1.
yeah, that must have been my.
I got $1 for
yeah,
crossing the street.
before my time.
Longwood Hotel?
Aretha Barnes was also in that movie. We were extras. That was with Robert Taylor and,
Oh,
you know, the Indian.
no. That was
yes. Well,
yes.
Chad Everett,
Chad Everett
and he was the Indian,
yeah.
supposed to be an
He's
Indian
still
boy in
upstairs.
that movie. Johnny
Okay.
Tiger.
Yeah, Johnny Tiger. And
They had a
I,
movie there.
and I can't forget the girl, or I can't remember the girl's name.
Jacqueline something. But now across the street, there was a bank on the corner years and years ago.
Yeah, up here,
Up here.
up at the
And
traffic light.
they still have the safe in there.
Yes.
It's still, you walk in safe, you know.
Now, the guy who owned the bank lived down in that house down there where
Yeah,
Harold
well, you
was.
remember his name? And then after it was a bank, and then it became
A grocery store.
a grocery store,
Now, what was his,
and that was,
who was the guy who ran the grocery store there?
yeah.
On the corner
Why couldn't I
where the
say his
bank
name?
was?
Grocery store. Oh, right at the corner there.
What?
Hartley?
No,
Oh, I
Hartley,
think Hartley's-
Hartley was a couple doors.
So they were down a little
Down
bit further
from.
down. Anyway, then Doc Reynolds had a drugstore right next
Yes,
door.
yes.
And he had a brother who also had a drugstore in Sanford.
Sanford, yes.
There were two McReynolds brothers, one in Sanford and one in Longwood. And I used to push Walter in the stroller up through the sand, sometimes once or twice in a week, maybe, to go and get an ice cream cone at the
That's,
drugstore.
that's what
And it would
Libby used to
tire
go
me out, but I
there.
would push them
Yeah.
up there and sit down and have an ice cream. And Doc McReynolds was there for how many years would you say, just off the top of your head, did they have that drugstore?
I don't
There
know,
for a
but-
I
long
was there when
time.
I was little.
He
Yeah.
did a long time. It was not too many years after I came here that he had closed it.
Yeah.
Closed.
And then the guy on the corner, whose name we cannot now recall, I'll try to look that up, who had the store,
Yes.
sold out, and then we had Moon's
Moon.
Moon, yeah.
clothing store there.
Yes, yes.